We'd like to welcome you to the Surf City Town Council meeting today. And at this time, if you would please stand, and we're going to ask Mr. Philip Chris from the Faith Harbor Church to lead us in our invocation.
Let's pray together. God, in your holy word, someone asked Jesus a question and said, "Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" And he said, "Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Whoever becomes humble like this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me." God, as we prepare for the coming school year, we would ask that our hearts would be enlarged and wide to welcome the children. We thank you that you've trusted us as a city with all of these wonderful children. We thank you for Surf City Elementary and Surf City Middle School and Topsail High School. We pray that you bless our children, surround them with your angels. And God, also, just pour out a special measure of grace upon the families here of Surf City so that we might raise these children to know you and to experience your grace. And we pray this in Christ's holy name. Amen.
Amen. All right, if that cool kid right there, Cameron Baker, would step up to lead us in our pledge.
Come on up here in the front, Cameron. There you go. All right.
All right, you start.
It's you.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask Amy Helms to come forward along with the Community Development Department. I'm going to start us off, Amy, and then I'll let you introduce everyone. Amy comes, she is our town planner. She came to work for the town of Surf City almost 4 years ago as the Community Development Director. In this role, she works as the development of community town citizens to ensure development moving forward in any agreement with town ordinances and the comprehensive land use plan. Since joining the town, she's led the way to update the comprehensive land use plan, updated the ordinance to meet the legislative requirements. Her department has also started the process of an overall zoning and subdivision ordinance update. Once the ordinance update is complete, the town will work to create standards and specification manuals that incorporates all divisions within the town. We all appreciate the work that Amy does and her team for the town of Surf City. And at this time, I'll let you introduce your department.
Thank you. So this evening, I'd like to recognize the Community Development Department. Our department consists of the building inspector, the GIS technician, and the code enforcement officer, as well as our community development administrative assistant and myself acting as the planner and zoning officer. Our department is responsible for reviewing all development proposals and building permits, enforcing municipal and zoning ordinances, maintaining town mapping needs, and ensuring compliance with our flood zone regulations. We are also responsible for the technical review committee, as well as preparing the planning board and board of adjustment agenda packets and minutes. Over the past year, as Mayor Batts mentioned, we have completed the comprehensive land use plan update with the Division of Coastal Management providing certification on July 27th of this year. We have also begun the process of updating the town zoning and subdivision ordinances, which you'll see more about over the coming months. Our administrative assistant, who was not able to make it tonight, Sheila Tosto, is often the first person the public and contractors interact with regarding building and zoning permits. She recently passed the Law and Admin class, which is recommended for staff reviewing permit applications. Our code enforcement officer, Scott, is the town's only certified logistics chief. This was an extra week-long class that he took to help us out during major storm events and other emergencies. You'll see him out and about walking around town. If you have any questions regarding the ordinances, or if you're unsure of what you're doing, whether or not we care about what you're doing, please just ask him. Ask first so that you know, so that we don't have to do any kind of enforcement action. We would rather be proactive than reactive whenever possible. He's happy to meet with you. He's happy to meet on site. If you need something looked at, just let him know. If you'd like to see a sample of what Rocco does, you can visit our GIS website. Our GIS website houses the zoning map, the sidewalk map, the parking map. There's also an interactive map where you can click on your street and you can see if the town maintains it, the state maintains it, or if your homeowners association maintains it. And if it is the state or the town, we'll give you the contact information in case you have any questions regarding those streets. And then our newest employee is Mr. Kenneth Morrison. He started last week. So he recently started with the town as the building inspector and floodplain administrator, but he's been a member of our community for 40 years. So he is a part of Surf City, even though he's only been here a week. He is a level 3 inspector and will be able to provide inspection for all projects within the town. He has over 17 years of experience in the building inspection field, as well as previously owning his own electric company. And lastly, I'd like to mention our soon-to-be former building inspector who is retiring at 5 p.m. today. Steve Padgett will be retiring from the town. He's worked as the building inspector for over 17 years. That was over 2 different periods, so he was here longer than that, but a total of 17 years working with us. He was also our floodplain administrator. When we did the CAMA permitting, he did the CAMA permitting. As jobs have come and gone, he has done everything in community development, from being the planner to the code enforcement officer to the building inspector, whatever was needed of him. Steve does not like fanfare, which is why he's not here. So I will leave you with this. Steve has been a valuable member of our team, an asset to the town, and a mentor to me. I will forever be grateful for the wisdom he has imparted through what he calls his old man stories. Thank you, Steve, for your service to this community. We wish you a long and happy retirement. And on behalf of Steve, he would like to say to council, he is sorry for your loss and wishes you the best. That's all I have to say about community development.
Hey, ma'am, I'll let you. Right, we did get Steve a plaque tonight, even though we were told that he more than likely would not show up because he didn't want a party. He just wanted to say goodbye. He is a very humble and kind man, and he will certainly be missed by the town of Surf City. So if you would make sure that he gets his plaque.
I will make sure. We're going to have to ambush him at his house.
Yes. Next, we will move on to Beautification and Enhancement Committee Awards, and I'm going to call on Trudy Solomon to come up and distribute the awards to the businesses and Home of the Month. So the business of the month is Mia's Marketplace, and I think they are here tonight.
Yay!
Miss Sandy.
So you let your hair grow out.
Thank you so much for keeping your business. Well, it's a 1940s part of Camp Davis building, so we're doing what we can.
You do a great job. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The Home of the Month was 180 Atkinson Road, which was the Salansco family, and we will be taking pictures at both of these the business and the Home of the Month tomorrow. Okay, we'll move to adoption of agenda. And this time I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. The agenda has been approved. The next item, approval of consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Consent agenda is approved. The terraces faces wasn't in that. It says specific request there, but we're good with that, right? No. So at this time, we'll move to public comments.
Heather Allen.
Hi everyone, I'm Heather Allen. I live over in Waterside. I've made a few new friends over the past month, and I reached out and I said, if anyone can't come to the meeting tonight, are there any concerns you'd like me to address for you? And a few people said yes. So the first was from a few middle school parents who live in either Saltwater Landing or around Turtle Creek. They're wondering, if possible, if there could be like a bike path from the mainland to the beach, because I think the kids around like 11, 12, 13 years of age, the parents are a little iffy on if they're okay driving their bikes, riding their bikes on the street. So if there was an actual bike path from the mainland to the beach, they would be very grateful. Nobody wanted a bike lane in the street. People were pretty adamant, like, no bike lane. But if there was like an extra bike path, and then kind of going with that, I think everyone's kind of seen a lot more of the little golf carts driving around on the mainland. So other people around that neighborhood were saying, like, if there was a path, they would take their golf cart to the beach, because right now on the 50 it goes from 35 to 45 to 35, so they wouldn't be legally able to drive their golf cart on the 50 to the beach. So maybe that would cut down on traffic if there was a path that golf carts and bikes could take to the beach. I had one person ask, is Surf City allowing backfilling on marshland? So I told him I would come here and ask that to you guys today. And then the last thing was my neighbor and I know we've brought it up before, she's the co-founder of Coastal Cleanup of Topsail. And if there's any way the town could come to an agreement with just like with little free parking passes we can give out to volunteers, just the people who are coming strictly to clean up Surf City and the beach. I just hope we're not like disincentivizing people who are getting tickets, who park maybe like 5 extra minutes after they're cleaning and they have to take their kids to their soccer games. Now they're getting tickets. But I completely support how I think from 6 a.m. to noon on Sundays, so for 6 hours, people can pretty much park wherever they want around the churches and kind of even by the fire department too. So if there's any way we could have something kind of like that for just a couple hours for the beach cleanup, I think that would be really great. So thank you very much.
Marty Martin.
Thank you. I got a suggestion for the city to look at the possibility of having lifeguards. We are getting so big. The Jeep going up and down the beach just is not adequate. I feel that the life that we lost this summer could have been saved if we'd had lifeguards. We're getting big. It's better than hiring bands and losing money. Our life is a lot better than hiring a band. The other thing is, on 3rd Street, when you hired the person that did the paving on 3rd Street, somebody didn't do their research. Whoever signed off on it, I don't know who did it. But if you'll check, like I did, they're ranked number 14 out of 20 in North Carolina. The Better Business Bureau don't even rate them. They're so bad. Their customer is, their star is 3. Up and down the coast, their names is mud. So whoever signed off on them, please do more research. I know it costs money. Sometimes it's best to take not the cheapest, but to take the right price. Do your research and get the right person to do the job. If you go out and look at it, our canal streets are now sawed all to pieces like they had field day at Home Depot trying out tools. So I would appreciate it. Whoever signed off on it or if all of you signed off on it, do your research like the rest of us do it. Because if you didn't, you failed us, you failed the taxpayers that keep you up there, you failed us. So thank you very much.
Stan?
Hey, Stan Griffin, 301C Mandalay Court. We've got a very generous community, and they've been very good to a lot of different organizations, but wanted to let everybody know that September 16th is the annual Paddle for Troops event that's going to be occurring at Sears Landing. So want to encourage everybody to come out and enjoy that event and support the organization. As we've benefited from the generosity of this community, but we've also been able to give back to this community and want to continue to do that. So invite the council, the mayor, the citizens, everybody to come enjoy a good time September 16th, Saturday, at Sears Landing, Paddle for Troops. Thanks.
Thank you. That's it. Okay. All right, we will now move with new business, and I'm going to call on Amy Kimes to come forward. And our first item is going to be Bishop Creek.
Evening again. We are going to start with the site plan approval request for Bishop Creek tonight.
I hear you.
Oh, sorry. We're going to start with the site plan approval for Bishop Creek Phase 2 tonight. So on your screen and on the screen at home, you should be able to see the vicinity map for this project. This project is that whole parcel that is highlighted, but it is only the northern portion that is Phase 2. Phase 1 is already under construction and nearing the completion of construction. This is located in the northeast quadrant of the Charlie Medlin Coretta Drive intersection. The Phase 1 of the project was approved in January of 2021 and consisted of 144 apartments and associated amenities such as the pool, clubhouse, and dog parks. Phase 2 of the project will add 54 more apartments, which will be housed within 2 buildings, and they will add associated parking with that. The site plan includes the extension of Coretta Drive to the property boundary, which will also include the extension of the multi-use path in that area. The project will be placed on the sewer capacity wait list and will not be constructed until we have additional sewer capacity available. Additional details are in your packet. And then here is your overall site plan. And as I mentioned, everything to the right of the dotted line is going to be the already constructed or nearly constructed portion of the project, while the 2 buildings in darker gray and the associated parking and garages are what you're looking at tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
The darker gray. The darker gray is what we're looking at, right? You
On the
said?
left-hand side near the stormwater pond, yes, ma'am.
The lighter gray has received occupancy.
Part of the, we've done a certificate of occupancy on a couple of the buildings up towards Charlie Medlin, but they are building out and coming on around with the rest of those that have already been approved. So I anticipate a certificate of occupancies of everything by the end of the summer.
As far as like, so the first building had how many units in it?
There's a total of 144 units, and I think there's
All 3 of those buildings.
Ma'am,
And all 3 of the ones that have certification now?
around 24 to 26 in them.
I understand that we have water, but they're on the sewer wait list. Are they still on that? Or
The 2 buildings that have not been built. So the 144 apartment units that have already been approved and are under construction had sewer capacity. These two additional buildings do not and would be put on the wait list.
I make a motion to approve it.
Any other discussion?
How long is the wait list? I mean, what, is there any,
Mr. David Price would have to answer any questions regarding the sewer wait list.
curious?
Currently, sorry about that. Currently, there are 5 people on the wait list. This will be number 6 and number 7 later on in the agenda. We have several projects underway. 1 or 2, depending, are set to be under construction this fall with completion next summer.
Oh, okay. And we're approving the buildings that already are ready for occupancy, correct?
No, sir, we're approving the 2 buildings
Are on the wait list.
to get them onto the wait list. So to be on our sewer capacity wait list, you have to have fully approved plans, and this would put them on that wait list.
I make a motion to approve it.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion to approve Bishop Creek. Next item is Chug and Grub.
So the next item on the agenda is the Chug and Grub. As you can see on the vicinity map, it is located between the Go Gas and one of the trailer, or Peaceful Oasis on NC 5210. A few key facts on the next slide. The site is approximately 1.15 acres. The overall building size is 8,055 square feet, with 4,055 square feet of that being dedicated to the restaurant use and 4,000 remaining for potential retail use. They will be sharing the access with the Go Gas. The Department of Transportation will review and modify their driveway permit according to this. They are in the process of doing that right now. They are providing the maximum allowed parking per our ordinance, and they will obtain a NCDEQ state stormwater permit. On your screen now is the site plan. On the left-hand side of your screen is going to be the NC 5210 corridor, with the pond side being up against water side. As you can see on the top left corner, they will only have the right-in direct access, and then through the shared access across the back, we'll go across Go Gas and then come out at the signal at the Go Gas. So the signal at the Go Gas will be their full access movement. And then the architectural renderings are on your screen as well. So the long side that you see is what will be facing the Go Gas, and then the smaller portion is what will be facing NC 5210, and the restaurant will be in that section facing NC 5210. There's additional information in your packet. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I just got one, Amy. I know we're getting to the point, parking is an issue. And I'm not familiar with how many parking spaces goes with each one of these things. Can you tell me the total number of parking spaces allowed for this project?
I can. Give me just a second to pull up the site plan, please. The minimum required is 36. The maximum parking allowed is 60, and they will be proposing 60 spaces. So it is, for the restaurant, it's 1 per 2.5 seats is the maximum. And then the retail maximum is 1 per 225 square feet.
They got all the parking spaces they need in there then?
They got all the parking spaces that are allowed by the ordinance.
Okay.
If a, say another restaurant comes in years later, would they be allowed to put a restaurant in
So that's
to one
where
of the other units?
they would need to get a zoning permit as they change, so we'll need to monitor what goes in and look at those uses. If the uses exceed the parking, then no, they should not be allowed a zoning permit, or they would have to provide additional parking.
You said 1 point, it's one space per one,
For every 2.5 seats is the maximum, or 1 per 4 seats. So basically, 1 per table is the minimum, and 1 per just slightly over half a table is the maximum.
just a follow-up question, not about parking. I want to make sure I understood. If you're coming from the beach north on 50, you can only turn right in there. The left-hand turn to access it would have to be at the light at the Go Gas, and you went around behind the Go Gas and came in. Is that correct?
Correct.
Any other discussion?
They're on the wait list as well, correct,
No, so
for the water?
we do have sewer capacity with infill lots that were already a part of our existing permits. So this property would be able to move forward with the existing sewer and water permits that we have.
Question, what was that?
Is he on a wait list? Chug and Grub would not be on a wait list.
It'll be on town
Yes.
services, okay.
Yeah. I make a motion, we approve.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, Amy, number 3, the Turco Property Phase 2.
So JMT Enterprises Phase 2, the vicinity map is on your screen. It's the triangle piece located between H2O Place, which is where our water tower is, and NC 210, and adjacent to the Magnolia Reserve subdivision. A few key points about this project. Phase 1 consists of the retail shop currently known as My Yard Your Sale, was approved in November of 2021. Phase 2 will consist of a 4,000 square foot office building and 29 townhomes. The office building will be built first utilizing the existing septic system and well. The townhomes will be placed on the sewer capacity wait list. Once sewer is available, all buildings will be on the Surf City sewer and water. So at that time, they'll convert the 2 existing buildings to town sewer and water, and they'll build the townhomes. The site will provide a multi-use path. It should connect to the Magnolia Reserve path, and then they are providing parking and landscaping that meet the requirements of the town ordinances. Here is just the basic site plan. The existing building is that middle building, and then the new building will be closer to H2O Place, with the residential use being against the R10 zoned residential at the other end. So we are keeping the residential against the residential while keeping the commercial against the government or the G1 zoned area. And then the building, the rendering doesn't do the best job, but the building basically looks like the building that you already see out there today. There's additional information in your packet. If you have any questions, I am happy to answer them.
Amy, I'm concerned about the traffic, about the close to that curve going and coming in and out, the ingress and egress of it, and the amount of traffic that's going to be put into the flow we've already got. I'm looking at it from the safety standpoint. Can you help me understand that any better?
So, the Department of Transportation, and they are working to update their driveway permit, which will they will determine what additional needs as far as a right turn lane extension or anything like that would be needed. They are still working to complete the additional turn lane. I've been in some emails on that, but they will be updating the driveway permit to provide additional turn lane if needed.
But looking from the safety end, it being so close to that curve where it's at, I don't see how we can get away from a third lane.
Potentially, and if they can't put that in, then they can't put their building in. That will be tied to their driveway permit as a part of their driveway permit, so we wouldn't let the project move forward without it. This portion of it is an office building and will be a lower generator than like the My Yard portion, but it will definitely generate additional traffic.
Are you asking us to approve the whole thing or just to approve that one building?
We would like to approve the site plan so that they can get on the sewer wait list, but they will not be issued building permits until they get their driveway permit straight and approved so that the roadway improvements can go in at the same time.
So the DOT improvements have to be done before they even...
They have to be done before the CO is issued.
So you're happy with the way everything is? And if you're not happy, then I know you're turning your head kind of side. If just say so.
Happy is a relative term. It is zoned appropriately and meets the ordinance requirements.
That's what I was going to ask. Does it meet code?
It meets code and it is zoned appropriately.
But the turning lane is the issue too, right?
The turning lane would be a requirement from the Department of Transportation, and they are currently reviewing the project.
We can't put that requirement on them to do the turn lane.
Not clearly in the current ordinance. It's also on the DOT's road. It's not a town street, so it would be up to the DOT to put that requirement. The requiring traffic impact analysis, providing a threshold is something that we will be looking at in the ordinance rewrite so that we actually have a solid, this is when you have to do a TIA, and then if our TIA threshold is lower than the Department of Transportation's, they will help review them just like it was one of theirs. And if it comes out saying that something is needed on their street, then they do require it.
Let me understand something. So if we approve this, they can go ahead with everything, but they still really can't do it until DOT makes the lane.
If you approve this tonight, they will need the DOT approval prior to submittal of the CO. The 29 townhomes cannot move forward at this time. They are going on the sewer wait list. So construction could begin on the 4,000 square foot office building only at this time.
When you say office building, is this, they're going to rent these spaces out to people to use as offices, or is it an office for the future townhouses?
So my understanding of the situation is that if you do a consultant for job from home or whatnot, and you need an office space where you would like to meet clients 3 days a week from 2 to 5, you would rent that office 3 days a week from 2 to 5. If someone came in and said, hey, we would like to rent this as our full-time office, I am sure Mr. Turco would not turn down a full-time rental agreement. But the intent is for it to be flex office space. As we've seen an influx of people working from home, they need places to meet people because you don't necessarily want people coming to your house.
So he's going to have a building that's going to be rental for suites, whether it's 10 by 10 or 10 by 20 or whatever the case may be, or 20 by 20. But he's building a building for rental purposes, so there's going to be suites in there.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any, has he given any indication of how many suites are going to be in there? And the reason I'm asking that, I'm going to go back to the parking as well.
The parking is based on overall square footage of the building is the way that our ordinance is written. It's based on it does not do it by office, it does it by overall square footage, and that is what he used to calculate that.
Do we have any ordinance or that comes under the zoning that addresses buildings with suites, with the parking stuff?
We do not. Our zoning is the overall use, so the use is office space. We don't delineate. Our parking is based on the overall size of the building, not the number of tenants that are within that building or rentals. We don't have anything that says you can't rent the space to 5 different people during the day if you want to.
So it's possible for him to possibly have 15 rentals in that housing development, I mean, in that building there?
It would be possible for him at the same time, probably not, but yes, it would be possible for him to have rental agreements with multiple people where it's not just me staying in my office all day, it's me for 3 hours, Kyle for 3 hours, Carla for 3 hours, and then we start the next day.
And you said that the square footage is based on the parking spaces is based on square footage.
Yes, sir.
So if you got 10 people, and we'll just take 10, what you said, 10 people there, and they have office space, and they have a customer coming in, and then they're all not going to have it at the same time, but let's just say that 6 of them do. Then we have a possibility of 16 vehicles being there. Or do we have enough room to cover all that?
So the way that they looked at it, we have existing retail parking of 21 spaces. For the proposed building, we are providing 19, we're providing 18 spaces, 16 is the minimum. So we are over the minimum, but we are not at the maximum. But we are within the ordinance requirements.
We're barely over the hump.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
If I understand correctly, based on what Mr. Fowler was asking, we don't know how many units he plans for the interior of the building.
No, he'll be able to configure it however ever he wants. When we look at parking, we look at the overall size. He could potentially do movable walls and then, reconfigure it as people come and go.
Can I change gears a second?
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure I understood what you heard. Apparently, there's an existing septic system on site.
Yes, sir.
I assume the other building is using that.
Yes, sir.
And this will be tied in to that. This new building will be tied into that system.
Yes, sir.
And all that's been approved, I assume, by the county and
Yes, sir.
the powers that be that says that this is enough capacity. But moving forward, once they come off the wait list and are able to have, and we have capacity with the town, they're going to convert they're going to convert both of those buildings along with the townhouses to the town.
That is my understanding, yes, sir. And they have a release from Pender County for them to come onto our water at that time.
When you said it, handshaking the promise, or is that?
That is
up
what
in
I
the
have been
plans?
told through the documentation, but I never 100% guarantee somebody else's business plan. Everything that has been presented to me is that they will come onto our sewer and water once our sewer becomes available.
Is there any way that this new building here could just be used as one large building, like as an event center, and bring hundreds of people to its location?
They wouldn't have parking for that. So anything above the office use, they would have to come back and redo their site plan if they did not have adequate parking. Could they use it as like a call center or something like that where it's just one use in there? Yes, they could do it as one office building. But if they go into something that's above their allowable parking, then we would have to have additional conversations and see whether or not they can do anything.
Ms. Kimes, that'd be a change of use, though.
It would be a
right?
change of use, yeah.
And they would need town permission to do that.
They would need town permission, and if it became so lucrative, they might just, they might come back for us and say, hey, we don't want to do the townhomes, we want to do something with a larger venue. It would also have to go back to the Department of Transportation for transportation needs, because that would be a very different use than an office.
One other thing I've got too, Amy, along the lines of Mr. Cannady was talking about and following up on that. With the septic system, the existing system that's over there for this other building that's there, is it sufficient enough to handle both of those buildings with the occupants they've got in it? In other words, was it permitted to be able to handle all of that? Because that's in Pender County's hands, not ours, and we don't have any control over that.
Based on my conversations with the engineer and the wording on here, yes, sir, the permit was issued to handle both buildings. And they will have to submit their septic permit as a part of their building permit.
Thank you.
Any
I got
further
one more
discussion?
question. Is there anything in our ordinance or in our scope of what we can handle that there's some kind of commitment or requirement that when they do come off the wait list, that they switch that over? It's just not, yeah, that's what we plan to do. Oh, man, the plans fell through. We can't do that now.
So they 100% have to, because the buildings for the townhomes are being built over their septic system. So there will be no septic system. They have to if they want to build the townhomes.
That's all my questions.
Just to follow up, that's a matter of topography for this particular project.
For which thing?
About whether they have to convert over once capacity is available, because I think that was your question, right?
Whether
In
they
this case, they would have to if they build the townhomes.
Yes, they have to because they are building something on the current septic area and repair area. They want to use that as buildable land in the future. I don't know what Price's rules say about once you're on a septic. I think you can stay on the septic once you're on the septic, but that is a utilities.
We would not have any regulation that would require the revertment back to the sanitary sewer. We can allow the septic, but we can't force them to go onto sewer when it does become available.
But if they're building over it,
Oh, sure.
But
or
this-
is it gonna be
If they're
destroyed?
building over it, they can't have both.
To build this site plan, they have to come onto our sewer system because they have nowhere to dispose of their sewer if they build this site plan as approved tonight.
Okay. So either come on the sewer and build the apartments, or don't build the apartments or townhomes and stay on the sewer.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, septic, excuse me,
I knew what you meant.
yeah, okay.
Any further discussion? Is there a motion to move forward?
I make a motion, we approve it.
Is there a second? Jeremy, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. This time we'll move to Kyle Brewer with our manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Good afternoon. Wish Mr. Martin would have stuck around. I would have given him this update directly, but it's in regards to the 3rd Street and the paving project. So core testing was finally completed and reviewed by staff. So we do have a couple of discrepancies between what was sent out in the bid specifications and what the results were. So staff is in communication with the contractor and has given them until the end of this week to provide a solution to bring the project up to standard. It remains our hope that we seek this resolution and the project can continue. And if not, we will seek alternatives, which may include termination and solicitation for a new contract to complete the project. Public bidding laws require a town to evaluate proposals on lowest and most responsible bidder. So references were checked on the current contractor and came back positive, which is what gave us confidence to sign a contract. So working with that company, we are trying to work out some of these issues, and we will do that, whether or not that's with the current contractor or a different contractor, but I'll leave it at that, but just wanted to give council and the public that update. In a larger sense, we had a good meeting with representatives of NCDOT's paving unit, and we'll be partnering with them for future road resurfacing projects. Mr. Carter has submitted our next round of projects to them for analysis and inclusion in their next contract. It is intended that the town will be able to piggyback on a much larger countywide project for better pricing and oversight, as we'll use NCDOT's inspectors for work being completed. So we'll get on that rotational basis with DOT moving forward. Just wanted a quick update on sewer, just in regards to some funding. So we are waiting for updates to come out of the state budget, as it is anticipated that language affecting effluent disposal may be contained within that budget. We've also requested local appropriations to fund future projects to reduce the burden off the ratepayer. As soon as the budget is released, we will investigate these areas of interest to Surf City. Other items include small project funding through Representative Smith's office, as well as the state's cost share on our Federal Army Corps project.
So I think the state budget has been in the news here recently. It's, I guess, a month overdue, but we do feel confident about some of the language that we have requested and lobbied our representatives for. We did hold the project pre-bid meeting for the South Shore Stormwater Project. That was held on Thursday, July 20th, and the bid opening date will be held Wednesday, August 9th, so next week here at Town Hall. Contract will be brought to the council for review and award following these dates. The Army Corps project, so the Corps informed the town that they have a meeting scheduled tomorrow on officially moving the project to DRA 19 investigations to get to the general reevaluation report, which is what is needed to get the new chief's report. And what that really ultimately means is the official designation of the Surf City only project that we have all been waiting for since North Topsail Beach's departure. So anticipating a follow-up from the Corps after that meeting tomorrow to see how things go. We would anticipate positive outcomes of that. In addition, North Topsail Beach has sent a letter to the Corps reaffirming their decommitment of the project, but really acknowledging the need to taper our project within their town limits of approximately 1,000 feet. I'll work with their manager to send some preliminary communications to those property owners, giving them a project update, as well as letting them know that they will need to sign project easements in order to move forward. And again, the Corps won't just sever the project at the town line. They will have to design a 1,000-foot taper into North Topsail Beach. So what that means is that Surf City will reach out to those property owners because we'll still have to secure easements for work being done. And I'll try to do that jointly with North Topsail Beach to kind of ease that communication in. Just a quick update. We held our first recruitment and retention committee on July 21st. Discussed were the goals of the committee, ground rules for how meetings will operate and how many total meetings are to be expected, demographic data, the current Surf City workforce, and the current hiring process. There should be 3 to 5 total meetings, with the first couple focusing on recruitment practices and ideas, while the final ones pertaining to how to retain current employees. Recruiting and retaining high-quality employees for the town is certainly of utmost importance, especially when it comes to service delivery for our residents. A request for bids has been sent out to seek proposals to construct the Welcome to Surf City sign to be located at the foot of the bridge on the mainland. So I'll be accepting these over the next couple of weeks to get that project under the way. As a reminder, funds were budgeted in this fiscal year to complete that. It was brought up earlier in regards to community development on the ordinance updates. So that's zoning and subdivision. A draft schedule of the project was sent last week by the project manager with Withers Ravenel, who's the consulting firm that's going to help guide this project, laying out plans for completion and how it should be tracked, ending before June of 2024. So we're anticipating in total about 9 months for that project. It distinguishes between the work of the company, the town of Surf City, and joint efforts combining the two parties. So Amy and I will meet with them tomorrow to review the schedule in depth and talk about any sort of issues that we need to go ahead and work out in advance. Just wanted to let you know that all monthly purchase order reports, so purchase order is necessary for any expenditure within the town, $500 or greater, as well as the debt schedule have been uploaded in your council folder if you ever want to go look at those. Just wanted to give a couple of staff recognitions. Mr. Matt Abruzzo, raise your hand in the back, began as the town's communications specialist yesterday. Matt is a graduate of Wheaton College and held the former position of Director of Communications for a congressional campaign as well as social media manager. He will be and has been working with Alexis this week on the transition and has hit the ground running. So we welcome Matt to his new position. And with that, Alexis Yop's last day with the town will be this Friday. Can't say enough good things about Alexis, but she's been a tremendous asset from her role starting out with the town as administrative assistant
and then to the communications specialist. She will be leaving the town to attend UNC Pembroke to pursue a degree in the medical field, so we wish her nothing but the best. As Amy mentioned, today was also Steve Padgett's last day. As you know, Steve has served an integral role with the town as our building inspector and floodplain administrator. Steve's knowledge of the town, relationships with our building community, and overall assistance to the residents of Surf City will be missed sorely. So Kenneth, we certainly welcome Kenneth into the new role. Kenneth being a resident of Surf City, holding all of his certificates, again, hitting the ground running, and we welcome Kenneth to the team. And then last but certainly not least, Gabe Thumb over here in the audience has been interning the last couple of weeks. He'll be leaving to pursue his higher education at UNC Chapel Hill in the fall. This will be his last week here in town. It's been a pleasure to have Gabe working with the town. His passion and intuitiveness will certainly carry him far in his education and career, whatever that may be. I think I've probably drawn him as far away from town management as possible, but no, Gabe has taken everything that we've thrown at him. He shows me as I feel like an old guy working around some of these folks. Efficiency, a different way to do things. First thing I gave him a task, and something I would have probably labored over in Microsoft Excel. He goes directly to the internet and finds a tool that just does everything for you. So, Gabe, I appreciate it, and again, look forward to the next few days, and any wisdom you can extract from anybody here as a department head, I would recommend doing that. So with that, that's my report, Madam Mayor. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to try to answer those.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for town manager? No? All right, well, let's start down there with you. Let's start with you. Oh, the attorney. We'll go to attorney first.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. I'll just echo what Mr. Brewer just said. As a public entity, we are required to follow North Carolina public bidding laws. The issues at 3rd Street are being looked into closely, and we hope to resolve that soon. So, thank you.
I don't have a comment, I got a question.
Okay.
When Miss Allen mentioned earlier about the kids and the bicycles, it threw me a little bit. Is there anything that prevents or discourages the kids from driving on the existing path that goes to the beach?
On the bridge?
Well, on the
side of the
well,
bridge?
from there, isn't there a walkway that goes all the way?
Or is there a break in there? There's going to be a small gap, essentially from the fire department west. There's no sidewalk. If you're talking about Saltwater Landing, there's no sidewalk there.
Is that what she said? So I thought she said Waterside.
No, I think she was referring to Saltwater Landing.
I understand.
Yeah, Waterside
That's what I was
is.
losing. I was like, man, I think those kids can ride on that path.
And all,
There
That may
is
come in effect with the
multi-use greenway.
Greenway, that's supposed to be done through them.
I knew that was out a little ways, but I got my destinations crossed up, I guess. I wasn't thinking Saltwater, I was thinking Waterside for some reason. Anyway, that's all I had.
Did you want to touch on the multi-use greenway?
yeah, so I'll send Ms. Allen certainly a copy of that. But the East Coast Greenway, of course, in its entirety goes from Maine to Miami or maybe even the Florida Keys. But the portion that affects Pender County and Surf City, we just completed our feasibility study for that. So in the world of funding projects, you got to get to that point in order to potentially receive some money. So what we will be doing is our immediate opportunity is to submit the segments of the East Coast Greenway that pertain to Surf City to our RPO or Rural Planning Organization that then facilitates the process of prioritization within the state's transportation improvement plan. So, that's an opportunity to seek state funding to construct some of this infrastructure that, is certainly needed within the community. in order for us to advance our bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure and, and movement of, our residents and visitors from the mainland to the island. I think that's certainly going to be a primary transportation route, not just recreation. So, Mayor, if there's any other specifics I can answer, I'm happy to.
We're working on it. It's just taking some time to get the funding for it. Okay, Jay?
I'm good too, thank you.
You good?
Thank you.
Don Helms?
I just hope everybody had a good weekend and a good month of July. Chief, how many people did we have during the month of July here in Surf City? I think these people would be amazed at the amount of people or traffic. No, cars.
There was 407,000 vehicles when westbound or eastbound toward the beach in the month of July, the intersection.
It's been a busy month. Thank everybody for their patience.
Buddy?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank everyone for coming tonight. Glad to see all of you. I think it's time for us to probably look at doing another traffic study or updating our traffic things to see what, we got a lot of traffic that's on the island coming and going. It's kind of a two-edged sword. We want to see all the tourists that can come so they can certainly help our businesses out. But we have businesses that has problems with people getting to the business because of the traffic, because they can't get in and out. So we got a two-edged sword working against it. But I think we need to do a traffic study or look at some ways we can get with DOT and find out what we can do, if there is anything we can do to stimulate this traffic. I've never seen, this is the most I've ever seen in my life a year traveling-wise. I don't know where all these people are coming from and how they're getting here and where they're getting the money to get here, number one. But they're here. They found us. And our traffic is doing, and while we're in the process, we need to continue upgrading our roads, which we're in the process of doing. And one of the things I think we need to look at in the future, we've got some things that's going to be coming up that's going to cause problems with our neighbors and our residents. We have some that, I'll use my house for example. If they come in and build up around my house, water's going to come off of their yards and stuff. I know we have an ordinance. We might need to look at that ordinance and update that ordinance to get these things in, because I'm not saying they can't build up. I'm sure they can do what they would like to do, but we've got to put something in place that at least can buffer or give some kind of buffer to our people that are already there. And one way of doing that is looking at our ordinances and updating those and getting them in. And with that being said, I thought about the land use plan and the bike plan too. Miss Adams doing her talking, because all that's covered in that in some area. But I'm thankful for the questions. I'm thankful for everybody coming. I'm thankful for your concerns. Please continue to express them. It's always been a pleasure to try to be your voice on the council. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'd like to congratulate the Community Development Department for doing a great job. And as I've said before, all our employees in this town go over and above the call of duty as many times. Thanks everybody for coming out tonight. And before we close, our Parks and Rec Department is shy one person. We've got a few applications, and I'd like to make a motion to put Tracy Williams in that position.
I'll second it.
Madam Mayor, we need a motion to amend to add that item to the agenda. If that's.
I make a motion we amend the agenda to add that item to it.
I second it.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries to add that item to the agenda to appoint someone to Parks and Rec.
Thank you.
Just vote. We've already had a motion in a second. You just need to
Well,
vote.
the motion, please don't. Technically, the motion was out of order because it wasn't on the agenda when it was made. So now would be in order.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion, fill the position on Parks and Rec with Mrs. Tracy Williams.
And I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And he says,
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries to appoint Tracy Williams to the Parks and Rec Committee.
Thank you.
Welcome.
You understand I'm just doing
Yes, no, really, hey, help me out here. You were in
Anything
school.
else, John?
Nope, that was it for me.
No, anything else, Alice?
I think
Okay.
that was enough, that caused
Okay.
enough, it's all right.
So, again, thank you for coming. Thank you to Mia's for having a beautiful storefront this month. We appreciate you, along with the House of the Month, for keeping your homes beautiful for us. All of our departments have had a very stressful summer, and so a big handout to all of those. We greatly appreciate all that you do. It's been very stressful. Mr. Morrison's sitting on the back row right now, and he's like rolling his eyes, like, what have I got myself into? But he loves Surf City. He's been here a long time, and we are very, very grateful to have you to step into Steve Padgett's position. So, with that being said, we are looking forward to all of the different events that are coming up in September and October in Surf City. The Paddle for Troops, the bike ride. I think there's a lot of stuff. The Ocean Fest. So, a lot of our citizens have a lot of different activities to participate in. And I just want to reinsert on Marty Martin when he spoke about lifeguards. Our ocean rescue, they are certified lifeguards. They are a roaming certified lifeguard, but they are certified lifeguards. The accident that did happen that morning, I think, was unpreventable. Even if we did have a lifeguard sitting there, it was before 6 a.m. in the morning when that accident did happen. I hate that it happened, but I just want to let everybody know we do have lifeguards. They are certified ocean rescue lifeguards. And other than that, I think we're good. Everybody else good?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We are adjourned.
that's what you call